Hi everyone, welcome you all to Cloud by Veer YouTube channel. My name is Virender and I welcome you all to this particular session. Now folks, this session is very important for IT professionals, cloud enthusiasts, and as well as if you are a college student or you just pass out the college, have done your graduation in the computer science or any other relevant field, and you are preparing for maybe cloud engineer role or any specific role which you are looking in the cloud industry. Now, once you will go for that particular preparation for that particular role, you will have to focus on this particular topic which we are going to talk about. We are going to talk about in this particular video about multi-layered security of your VPC. So the topic is multi-layer security of AWS VPC. This VPC stands for Virtual Private Cloud. Now, if you talk about AWS, Amazon Web Services, or you can talk about Azure, or you can talk about Google Cloud Provider as well. VPC or Virtual Network or Virtual Private Cloud Network is a private network which can be created by an individual or an organization in a particular cloud like Amazon Web Services or Azure or Google Cloud Provider or any other cloud. Organizations can create this virtual private cloud to isolate their resources in such a way that an organization or an individual will have the power in their hand that whether they want to make their resources available over the public internet or they want to put their resources as private resources. If we talk about a multi-tier architecture, in a multi-tier architecture, we have basically multiple tiers available in that architecture which are known as web tier, which can known as an application tier and your database tier. Now, if we talk about the web tier over here, web tier, where you can put your web server. Second, you should have your application tier, where you can put your application server, and then you have your database tier, where you can put your databases. So every organization put their databases inside the private environment. What does that mean? That means that the resources which are inside the database, the resources which are inside the database are not directly accessible from the internet, which means over a particular website or on a particular application, we may have two types of resources. First, we have those kind of resources which are directly accessible from the internet or which are available for the public internet or the public over the internet. And second, we have those kind of resources which are not accessible from the public internet. Those are the private resources. This is called as a multi-tier architecture. Now, let's come over the topic, which is multi-layer security inside the VPC. I'm talking about one cloud named as Amazon Web Services. This is our cloud provider, which is known as AWS. Inside AWS, we can create a VPC that stands for Virtual Private Cloud. Okay, Virtual Private Cloud. And this virtual private cloud, we need to protect this virtual private cloud, right? How we are going to protect that? With the help of multi-layer security. Now, if we talk about the security of this virtual private cloud, we should know about two major points over here. The first point refers as security groups, and second point refers over here as NACL, that is your network access control list. Network access control list. Now, in this particular virtual private cloud, you can make a division of this virtual private cloud into different ways. Like you can create a public environment or you can create a private environment. Public environment you can create for those resources which can be accessible from the public internet, and you can put those resources inside this private environment which are not directly accessible from the internet. Now, if you want to protect or if you want to create a multi-layer security for this virtual private cloud, you should use two major concepts over here. The first is your security group. Second is your network access control list. Security groups are the virtual firewalls which will be able to protect the resources level or the resources directly which you are going to put inside your environments, because the security group acts as a firewall on the instance level. Now, this instance is known, this is the instance, this is your private instance, and this is your public instance. Or you can call it as this is your web server, which can be directly accessible from the internet. And this is your database server that is not directly accessible from the internet. Now, security group acts as a firewall on the level of the servers or the virtual machines or the instances. So if you want to maybe have that kind of controllability in your hand, that what type of inbound and outbound traffic can enter inside the instances and could go outside from the instances, you should configure your security groups in such a way. You can configure the inbound rules and outbound rules of the security group on your instance level. Now, when you are dividing this virtual private cloud into multiple parts, these parts will be known as subnets. Now you can create your public subnet for the public resources, and you can create your private subnet for your private resources. Now this network access control list is a virtual firewall, will be on the level of these subnets, right? So let me just over here, network access control list will act as a firewall, or it will protect the subnets in which you are going to put your servers or your virtual machines, and the security groups will act as a firewall, or it will directly protect your virtual machines, because security groups can be attached directly to the virtual machines only. Network access control list can be attached directly to the different subnets, whether it's a private or it's your public subnet, right? Now, this is how we are going to create a multi-layer security for our Amazon Web Services virtual private cloud to protect our VPC. Each and every organization needs to protect their virtual private cloud and the resources inside their VPC. And how we are going to do that, let me just take you to the AWS management console for the practical demonstration for this entire architecture. Before that, I would request to all of you that please subscribe the channel and like the video, and please share it with your friends as well. So let's get started. Okay, now let me just take you to the AWS management console. This is my AWS management console, right? Now we will be following some steps to create this entire architecture, in which the very first step is that we need to create a VPC. We need to create a virtual private cloud. So let me just search for the VPC, and let me just take you to the VPC console. Okay, we are now inside the VPC management console. As you can see over here, all the list of the different resources which are running inside the VPC, you can see over here. We will be talk about each and every concept of this VPC in the coming videos as well. So for that, you should subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon as well. So whenever I will upload a video or a tutorial or a practical demonstration of the different cloud services, you will get a notification and you will not be in delayed to watch that particular video. Now we will be have to create a VPC. So let's just click on this create VPC button over here. Now we have multiple options available over here. Let me just click on this VPC only, and let me just make this page a little bit zoom out. Okay. Now first we need to give name to this particular VPC. Okay. Now, what name you are going to give to this VPC depends what type of name, whatever name you can give to this particular VPC. Now, in our case, let's give this VPC name as security VPC. Okay. Now, when you're creating a VPC, you should give an IPv4, which is your IP Internet Protocol version for CIDR block, which means your classless interdomain routing block, right? You should provide that, which means you should provide a range of IP address. By that particular range of IP address, you will be allocating all the resources inside your VPC. So whenever you start learning about any cloud provider, you should first, cover all the networking basic concepts like IPv4, IP addressing, subnetting, these type of topics you should be clear first. If you comment below this particular video that you need the videos for the networking topics as well, just comment out and I will be providing all the necessary networking videos which are required to prepare for the cloud engineer or cloud architect or different cloud domains or to learn the different clouds, right? In our case, let me just provide a CIDR range to this particular VPC as let me uh, just allow me for a moment. Okay, let me just give as 10.0. Okay, let me just dot zero dot zero slash 16. So what does that mean? That means that your IP address range will start from 10.0.0.0 and this slash 16 means that first 16 bits of this particular IP address will be blocked, right? Will be blocked from here, which means first 16 bits cannot be changed. Next 16 bits will be changed. This is the CIDR range I'm providing to this particular VPC. Now leave the everything default and just click on the create VPC button. Now this VPC has been created. You can see over here that we have successfully created the security VPC over here. Now, if you again go to the architecture over here, you will able to see that we have created this VPC, but in a particular architecture, we also have the term named as the internet. So suppose this is our internet. Now we need the internet connectivity to this particular VPC, right? Now to connect this VPC to your internet, you will require to create a particular resource and that resource is named as internet gateway, which is IGW. Internet gateway. If you create an internet gateway and if you attach that internet gateway to your VPC, then the resources inside your VPC or your VPC will be able to communicate to the internet. So let me just take you to the console again. And on the left hand side, you can see there is an option available for the internet gateways. Go to that and just click on create internet gateway. Now provide the name as security IGW security internet gateway. Let's just click on create internet gateway. And the task is not completed yet because you can see that we have created the security internet gateway, but the state of this internet gateway is still in the detached state. So we have to attach this VPC to the, sorry, this internet gateway to the VPC. So we'll go to the actions over here, attach to the VPC, select the VPC, which is security VPC, and we'll click on attach the internet gateway. This is how you can create an internet gateway and you can attach that internet gateway to your VPC, right? So two tasks we have completed so far. We have created our virtual private cloud, we have created our internet gateway, and we have attached this internet gateway to this VPC. Now, for this virtual private cloud, we need to divide this virtual private cloud into multiple parts in public subnet and in private subnet so that we will be able to isolate this virtual private cloud according to the requirement of the organization. For that, we will go to this column over here, which is available on the left hand side, the second number option available over here named as the subnet. Let's go to the subnet section and we'll click on this create subnet option available over here, right? So in our case, we will be creating two subnets. One will be your public subnet and second will be your private subnet, right? So in which subnet you want to create this, in which VPC you want to create this subnet, I will select this security VPC. This is the CIDR range of the security VPC. From this CIDR range, we need to provide some CIDR range to this particular subnet, which means if your VPC is having 65,536 IP addresses, then how many IP addresses you want to give to your subnet so that the resources inside those subnet will take the IP address from that particular range. First, let's provide name to this pub subnet is as, sorry, public subnet. Now you can also select an availability zone as well. What are these availability zones? If you can see on the right hand side over here, Northern Virginia is written over here. These are the different regions of the AWS. Regions are the geographical locations across the world, and these regions are divided into multiple availability zones. Now we have created this VPC in this Northern Virginia region. From this Northern Virginia region, you can select a particular availability zone. Like if you select this US East 1A, this subnet is going to be created inside this US East 1A only. And you can create another subnet into another availability zone so that if one availability zone goes down because of any circumstances, you will have another availability zone and another subnet resources are running so that your application or website will not face any type of downtime. That is what the concept of this availability zone. Now, from this particular CIDR range of your VPC, you need to provide some range to this particular subnet as well. So I will be providing 10.0.1.0/24, right? This is what I'm going to provide to this particular subnet over here. Now you can see if I'm putting 24 over here, which means 256 IP addresses will be provided to this particular subnet. If I will put instead of 24, if I will put 26, you will see that 64 IP addresses will be given to this subnet. Now let's just create 24 range. That means 256 IP addresses will be given to this public subnet. Click on this add new subnet button over here, and second subnet we are going to create as a private subnet. Private subnet for the security VPC. Now you also need to give some range to your private subnet as well. Now we have given 10.0.1.0 to the public subnet. Now let's give 10.0.2.0/24 to your private subnet. So 256 IP addresses I'm giving to the private subnet and 256 IP addresses I have given to the public subnet, right? Let's just click on the create subnet button. Now we have created public subnet and private subnet inside the VPC, which is named as the security VPC with these CIDR ranges you can see over here. So we have done this third step as well. Now, the next step which we need to configure is that if you want to connect your subnets to internet or to anywhere else as well, you need to provide a route to your subnets, right? Now, to provide routes to the subnet, you need to create some route tables. In these route tables, you have to configure the destination route and you have to configure the target route for the different subnets. So that if this public subnet is going to connect to this public internet, this public subnet should know the path in advance so that it will not face any type of challenges when it is going to the internet. In this particular case, suppose this public subnet wants to communicate to the public internet, what will be the destination for this public subnet? The destination will be the internet. And what will be the path? What will be the target for this public subnet? The target should be the internet gateway, which means if someone sitting inside this public subnet wants to connect to the public internet, the request first hit the internet gateway device and then it will go to the public internet. So this is the path or this is the route you have to define inside the route tables. If you go to the VPC management console, you have this third option available over here, which is the route table. Let me just click on this create route table option over here. And the first route we will be creating for the public subnet. So we will be giving name as public route table route for the security VPC, and let's just click on the create route table button. Now, as a route table has been created, we will be have to subnet association, which means we need to associate this public route table to the public subnet. But before that, let's just create another route table for the private subnet as well, named as private route table in the same VPC, security VPC, and let's just click on this create. Now let's add some route in these route tables. Let's first go to the public route table. Let me just select this public route table, and on the below section you can see over here some options are available, in which first the details are available and then the route column is available. You can see by default the target is the local and the destination is the CIDR range of the VPC to which this public route table has been associated. That means that whatever the type of resources can comes under this public route table will able to communicate locally inside this particular VPC only, which means if you put some resource and attach the resource to this particular public route table, those resources will not able to go outside the VPC. Now to make those resources so that they can go outside from this VPC, you should click on this edit routes and you should add some routes. Uh, Let me, okay, just allow me a moment. I think something is, okay. Okay, now let's just click on this add route button. And what is the route you want to add? I want to add the destination as the internet, that is your 0000/0. The target should be your internet gateway. And what is the internet gateway? This is your security internet gateway. And let's just click on the save changes button. So we have provided one route to the internet for this public route table. Same you can do for your private route table as well, but for the private route table we don't need to provide any type of routes, as this private route table will only be associated to the private subnet only. So private subnet doesn't need to connect to the internet as of now, because database should not be connected to the directly to the internet. That's why we are not going to configure the private route table, but we should associate these route tables to their associated subnets. This private route table should be associated with the public subnet only. So we'll go to the subnet association over here and we'll click on edit subnet association, and I will attach the public route table to the public subnet, and I will click on the save association button, right? And same, I will select this private route table and I will go to the subnet association and I will associate it to the private subnet, and I will click on this save association button. Now, so far, so good. What we have done, we have created a VPC, folks. We have divided this VPC into two parts, the public part and the private part. We have provided the CIDR ranges to all these three parts. We have created an internet gateway and we have attached this internet gateway to the virtual private cloud. We have created route tables, public route tables and private route tables, and we have provided the routes and we have associated those route tables to the public subnet and to the private subnet. Now it's time to create the firewalls. The first firewall we are going to create as security group. So let me just take you to the AWS management console again. And if you scroll down a little bit, you have the security section over here. Both of the types of the firewalls are available over here. First, let's go to the security group and let's just click on this create security group, in which let's first provide a name to this security group. Now the security group is suppose VPC security group, and this description of the security group should be we are creating this security group for multi-layered, maybe multi-layered VPC. Okay. and the DVPC should be your security VPC, right? Now you can see over here, two types of rules are available inside the security group, the inbound rules and outbound rules. By default, all the traffic is allowed to go outside from your subnet, from because of the security group. If you attach the security group to any virtual machine, by default, all the traffic can go outside, but no one will able to enter inside because we have not added any type of rule over here. So let's just add some rule, and I will add that anyone will able to SSH with the help of TCP protocol over 222 range from anywhere IPv4 will able to access this virtual machine to which the security group is going to be attached, right? And I will also provide all type of ICMP from all the ranges from over here or from anywhere IPv4 will able to access the virtual machine to which I will be attaching this security group. So I will click on this create security group button, and you will see that successfully we have created the security group. Now we will be going to the network access control list and we'll try to access or create this network access control list by clicking inside the create network access control list. Now this network access control is, as we have already discussed, that we can control the traffic in and out of a particular subnet with the help of this network access control list. So we'll give name as security NACL to the VPC security VPC, and let's just click on create network access control list. Okay. Now let's just select this network access control list, and you can see over here you have the option of inbound and outbound rules. In the inbound rules, by default, you can see all the traffic is denied to go inside this particular network access control list, but we'll click on edit inbound rules, and let's just click on the add a new rule, in which the rule we are going to give number as maybe the number should be just select as maybe uh 555, any number you can give to this particular, because this network access control list will be performed as it will follow the numbered rule, which means, let me just first finish this and I will able to explain this particular concept over here. Over here, let me just select SSH. Okay, so what I have done is that if anyone is trying to SSH inside my particular subnet from the TCP port 22 will be allowed, and this rule I have given number as 555. Okay, you can give any number of your choice. Let me add a new rule over here, and the new rule should be, let's suppose, 666. Okay, this is the new rule I am giving, and new rule should be all ICMP IPv4 traffic I am allowing from all the ranges will be allowed to access my particular subnet to which this network access control list I am going to attach. Now, what will happen? You will see that NACLs are basically folks stateless in nature, which means this network access control list will act as a virtual firewall that will provide an additional layer of security to your VPC. Now, the way we have configured this particular network access control list, so the rule number, the lower rule number will be executed first and the higher rule number will be executed than that particular number. So the lower number is 555, so it will be executed first, and the lower then 66. Then if you will do some 777 or 888, and if you provide any type of rule over there, then they will be followed by the lowest number. You just click on the save changes button, and these are basically stateless. These network access control lists are stateless in nature. That means you need to add the rules in the outbound rules too. As you have seen, the security in the security group section, you have seen one thing, that In the outbound rule, by default, all the traffic is allowed to go outside from the security group. That means the security groups are stateful in nature, but the network access control list are stateless in nature, which means you have to manually edit your outbound rules if you want to provide a specific outbound rule to your network access control list, right? So let's just click on this edit outbound rule, and the same concept applies over here. Numbered rule concept applied over here. The rule number 555, in which I want to allow all the ICMP IPv4 to go outside from this network access control list. Second rule I want to provide as 666, in which I will be providing that custom TCP is allowed to go outside from this particular subnet to which this network access control list is to be attached, and the port range should be suppose 1024 to 65365, right? This is the numbered rule, or 65, it should be 535. So from 1024 to 65535, everyone is allowed to go outside from this network access control list to which it will be attached to that particular subnet. Everyone will able to go outside from that particular subnet. I will click on the save changes button, and we have configured this network access control list, in which we have provided some inbound rules, which means this is the traffic which is allowed to enter inside, and this is the traffic which is allowed to go outside. Now you should associate this network access control list to the subnet as well. Now to which subnet you are going to attach this particular network access control list. I am going to attach this NACL to all the subnet which we have created, so that both of the subnet will follow the same rules, right? Both of the subnets, you have not made any changes. Okay, we are inside the outbound rules. So, okay, let me go to the security group NACL again. Subnet association. Okay, we have associated this particular NACL to the subnet as well. Now, so far so good. What we have done, guys, we have configured the security group, right? We have configured the security group. The video is still in the recording, right? Okay, yes, everything is good. So we have created a security group, which is the virtual firewall on the instance level or on the virtual machine level, and this network access control list, which is a firewall on the subnet level. So far, so good. We have created this virtual private cloud environment. Then we have divided this virtual private cloud environment to multiple subnets. We have created an internet gateway so that the resources inside this public subnet will able to communicate to the internet with the help of the internet gateway. But the question arises over here, how these resources of the private subnet are going to connect to this particular internet. That is what the concept we need to understand, right? So we will be creating this class into two parts. This will be our part number one, in which we have seen the 70% of the particular demonstration or the tutorial, in which we have configured the multi-layer security of the AWS VPC, in which we have created a VPC, we have created public and private subnet, we have created an internet gateway, we have attached this to the VPC, then we have created the security group and network access control list, and we have provided the inbound and outbound rules to the security groups and to the network access control list. We have attached these NACLs to those subnets as well, and also we have created some route tables to provide the route to this particular subnets. Now, the next step is to create multiple virtual machines, some virtual machine for the public subnet and one virtual machine for the private subnet. Will be saying that how we can connect the public virtual machine or the web server to the internet, if we're able to allowed or not. Then we'll create a private virtual machine or the database virtual machine. Then we'll see if we will be able to connect the database virtual machine to the internet or not. If not, then what is that way by which we will be able to communicate to the internet from the private resources without exposing our resources to the public internet by hiding our identity. That is what the main concern of this particular session will be. So in the next part, the part number 2 of the multi-layered security of the AWS VPC, we will be completing this particular tutorial in that particular part. So stay tuned, folks. And if you like the video and if you followed the entire tutorial of this video, do hit the like button and comment that what is the way and what that particular device is available inside AWS by which we can make the communication between the private resources to the internet without exposing the private resources on the internet. That is what is the answer we'll try to get inside the part number 2. So thank you so much if you have watched this video entirely, and I will be happy if you support this channel. Just subscribe the channel and share it with your friends. Also hit the like button to this particular video, right? Thank you so much, folks. We'll meet in the part number 2. Till then, stay tuned, take care, happy. Bye bye.